was an immigrant from a small banana republic. 11 months in New York City, long enough to grow weary of gringos crying triumphantly, "Ah, yes, the Panama Canal." Where exactly is Panama? I shared a crypt-like studio in Madison and 62nd with a view of a wall. I'd found work with an English as a second language publisher and was taking a drawing class at night. At 11 months plus 10 days, a coworker in my office said, "I know a guy who would really like you. His name's Daniel, American, born in Brooklyn, studied in Chile for 6 months. To Daniel," he said, "she's got big tits." I wore my red knit dress. It had a peekaboo keyhole above the chest. Daniel fetched me at my apartment with a view of a wall, took me to an Irish pub. I noticed his hands. They curved gently towards his chest as he bantered with the proprietor of the Irish pub. "Bring us your old crackers and cheese, Frank, and a whiskey sour for the lady." Piano player's hands, I thought. I pulled out the drawing book that I carried in my purse. Daniel's tapered fingers landed on the gouged dark wood table in the dimly lit room. He didn't seem to mind my light sketching. It was a very small notebook. As I drew, Daniel went on and on about Chile. The situation was confusing in Santiago in 1961. There was so much poverty. There were 7 political parties, and people could not agree on the shape of an egg. He was all head. His brain had to be huge. I couldn't help staring at his mouth, his moving mouth. His voice was deep and melodious, his puffy lips not like my own tapering bow. I looked into his green eyes as I sized him up with my amber pencil. Light brown curls, ears close to his skull, small nose, almost handsome. I had never been abroad, he said. At the stadium for a game of football, I saw that Chilenos ate peanuts, unshelled peanuts, same as at Ebbets Field in Brooklyn. This shocked me. I asked if Brooklyn was part of New York. Daniel said he traveled alone during his senior year at Princeton with a theme of his own choosing to study the effects of the Cuban Revolution on the political life in Chile, an impossibly huge topic. He'd met Senador Allende. He'd found a room at the university and read 6 newspapers every day. Almost no one with whom to speak in English. They pointed at him and laughed at his raincoat. "Gringo, we don't wear raincoats here." Ha, 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 ha. I'd ask a question or two. His gaze would make a flash landing on my chest. I continued to draw in my very small notebook as Daniel spoke about baseball, about los lanzadores that he saw in Panama, where he'd stopped for 2 days on his open airline ticket on Panagra while returning to New York from Chile. He made faces when he spoke in Spanish, lengthening syllables with a mock Jose Jimenez accent. I laughed. He seemed unaware of my moving pencil. He said I was eclectic. "It's my best compliment," he assured me. "You don't fit any pattern. You have many interests." Though I hadn't said much. We heard the cry behind us, "Fire!" A fire in the kitchen sent the patrons scrambling out of the pub onto the streets of the village. Daniel quickly grabbed his trench coat with multiple buttons and belts and laid it on my shoulders. He glanced at the peekaboo keyhole. His fingers pressed softly on my neck. We were married a year later.